Okay, so George is going to teach us this by accident because he didn't know what mistakes he was going to make. I've asked George to spot his mistakes but not correct them. So now I'm going to find out what you guys know. Connor, tell me about a mistake, please.
It's meant to be unwillingly, not unwillingly.
Unwillingly, yeah, because he's going to start with an adverb, isn't he?
Correct.
Yeah, going to correct it now, because the verb is are, and they are unwillingly. Good. Not quite.
Is it an L in it?
Yes. Okay, there's still a mistake with unwillingly. It's a punctuation mistake. Yes.
Should there be a comma after it?
Yeah, there is. So whenever you start a sentence with an adverb, you always have a comma after it. If you've all started with an adverb somewhere, check the comma. Okay. Right. Next mistake, please.
Okay. After bizarrely, should there be a?
I'll see it from there. After bizarrely, well, we've just answered that question. What's that word got in common with that one? They're both adverbs, so the answer is absolutely. You started with an adverb, you need a comma. Well done. George, you get to choose one now?
Don't know if it's a mistake, but after the green lawn and acting,
You've got the
should have a
computer.
full stop, 'cause
So
I've
up
got a
here.
comma. So where the full stop is,
Yeah.
can I have a comma instead?
Ah, okay. Yes is the answer. Can you tell me why you think that?
Because it would make more sense.
Yeah, this bit, that doesn't make sense on its own. And if ever you write something that doesn't make sense on its own, it needs a comma. You can't have a full stop. Unless you're doing it for effect. So for example, you might have just a one-word sentence that obviously doesn't make sense on its own, but we all kind of get the meaning. So, George, you're absolutely spot on to change that to a comma, and then obviously you're going to get rid of the capital. Great stuff. Harry?
Could you have a comma after the trees and plants look smaller than usual and comma, even the convert tree looks tiny?
Let's put one in. Yes, you can. Do you know why you want the comma there?
Could you have an extra information?
Spot on. Yeah, so let's highlight from even to tiny. This bit is the extra information. So, bizarrely, the garden looks different from above. The trees and the plants look smaller than usual. Makes sense up to there. So that was an explanation. You've also spotted, okay, that is also an extra bit of information. And whenever you add an extra bit of information, you're using a comma. Unless you're adding a bit of information that's also a sentence. Okay? If you're adding a sentence, you have to use a full stop or a semicolon. So my question is, of the two yellow things, which is a sentence? And Jay is going to tell me that.
Is it the trees and plants look smaller than usual?
It is. That's the bit that makes sense on its own. Yeah? So I can't have a comma there and there because that bit makes sense on its own and that bit does. Look, bizarrely the garden looks different from above. Makes sense. That's a sentence. I'll keep a comma if this doesn't make sense, but it does. So I can't have a comma there. George, did you pick up what you can change it to?
Semicolon.
Correct. Well done. Change it to semicolon. So important lesson if you didn't know it, a semicolon is to link sentences together.
Is it there? Do I put it there or there?
Well, it's to link sentences together, so you know where it's going to go, because it's linking two bits that make sense. Spot on, yeah? That made sense on its own, that makes sense on its own, you used it correctly.
Yeah.
So we now, in theory, learn how to use a semicolon. What's it for? Just remind me. Megan?
To link together.
To link what together?
The sentences.
Brilliant, to link two sentences together. Just testing, that's good. Right, are there any mistakes left? Yeah, I can still see another one. Connor? Okay, it's in this line here. Back looks like a doll's house compared to the...
Is there meant to be a comma after house?
Well, let's do the test. Does it make sense up to house? Even the shed at the back looks like a doll's house. Clap if it makes sense. Clap if it doesn't make sense. Okay, we're going for makes sense then. You're absolutely right, it does make sense, so we're going to have a comma there. Unless this bit does make sense, compared to the house, especially from this high up. So it doesn't. That doesn't make sense. This comma is correct. Thank you very much. Another mistake there. Yep.
Couldn't there also be a comma after back?
Where's back?
Down there. Even the shed at the back.
Looks like a doll's house. No, because this really goes together. If you had that as an extra bit of information, so the shed looked like a doll's house, comma, which I kept at the back, then it's an extra bit of information, but it's not there. But there is another bit of information in this bit. So starting with compared down to high up, there's an extra bit of information. You've got 5 seconds to work out what it is. Oh yeah, but I'm picking on everybody. Because my volunteers always get stuff right, pretty much. Okay. It's James. Who's James? Hello, James. Okay. Where's the extra bit of information?
After the especially from this high up,
Yes, that's the extra bit. So what's going to go after house?
comma.
Well done. Okay, there is an owner. Those last 3 lines have got an owner in them, and the owners always need apostrophes, because the apostrophe says, this is an owner. What's my owner? Dan. Even the shed at the back looks like a doll's house compared to the house, especially from this high up. Something in that is owned by something else. So if I'd written, my dog's nose is cold in the morning.
Is it the
Ma-
dog's nose?
Yeah, the dog owns the nose in that sentence. So there's something that's an owner in that sentence. Okay? This house is owned. Who owns it? In the sentence.
Oh, no.
The doll does, yeah? So we need an apostrophe because the doll owns the house. Not like we can't take her to court and fine her for something she's done, because that's not how it works. I just mean in the sentence, who owns it? The doll does, and the apostrophe is correct. Can you remove that apostrophe and put it after the S of dolls?
Oh,
No, it was correct. Put it after the S. Who would own the house now if I put the apostrophe there? Yes.
Would it be lots of dolls?
Yes, because my owner would be dolls. There. But, as it was only doll that was the owner, we're putting the apostrophe back there. Okay, let's review where we are. Has he started every sentence in a different way? That's where the audience participation comes in. Has he started every sentence in a different way?
Yeah.
Has he started one with the verb?
Yes.
Okay, what is it? Eleanor?
Unwillingly.
Ah! It's not though, is it? Yeah? So he did have a sentence which started with the verb. I hear some people muttering acting, but then correctly realised that wasn't the correct sentence. So we put the comma in. So we now no longer have a sentence starting with the verb. So if you were to carry this on, that's where I want to go, George to go next. But that's correct. Okay. What do you do when you start a sentence with an adverb? Lauren.
You put a comma after it.
Brilliant, thank you very much. What does the apostrophe show? Michael. You gave me the answer to link 2 sentences together, which is the right answer to a different question. What question should I ask to get your answer? No, absolutely not. Somebody teach him? Yes?
He's on about a semicolon.
Okay, in your own words, how are you on about a semicolon? Okay. Right. The comma's job is therefore not to link 2 sentences together. What is the comma's job? Talk to a partner. What is the comma's job? Right, I have to check that.
It makes sense, but it doesn't sound
Oh right, because he's overusing the same thing. Completely agree. Which is the same as starting each sentence in a different way. George, were you listening to that? They're going to teach you something. Go and see him. Right, time's up. Oh, it's Lauren again. What's the job of the comma then? Yes, we have covered that today. That is a good answer. Did anyone get something else on top of that, not just to add extra information?
To list.
Yes, we haven't covered that today, but you're spot on to list.
When your sentence getting too long, you need a bit of breathing space.
No. The reason I'm saying no is every punctuation, well, not the apostrophe, but commas, full stops, colons, semicolons, they all actually give you breathing space. But it's also true of everything else.